Hello painters, welcome back. If you would like to learn how to create this amazing 3D resin art with resin, silicone mold and some alcohol inks, stick around because that's what's coming up next. So you may have seen me make this one in a previous video. This is absolutely beautiful, so I will put a link for the video in the little I button and underneath in the description where you can find out more about this one. And today I'm going to try and do something similar but with a few differences. I've still got my square silicone cake mold. I'm still going to use resin and alcohol inks. I'm going to use some different colours. Let's get my glasses on. I have got, these are all Ranger alcohol inks. This one is Sunset Orange. I have Sunshine Yellow and Watermelon. So lovely kind of sunsetty colours, yellow, orange and red. I think these are going to be really beautiful. I'm also going to change up the white that I used. The last time I used the Ranger white. This time I'm going to use the white by Pinata and we'll see if it makes any difference at all. And basically I'm also going to do less resin. On the one that I did before I made it really quite thick. I did 400 milliliters of resin, and so with this one I'm going to see if I can get a similar effect using a shallower amount of resin. So I'm only going to use 300 milliliters and let's see if we can save some money and still get a really great result even with a piece that's not quite so thick. So as usual I'm going to mix up my resin. I'm going to put my gloves and my mask on, and because I'll have my mask on you won't be able to hear me speak. So the next section coming up is going to be super simple. I'll just add a little bit of music. I'm going to add my resin into the tray and then drip in my colours of alcohol ink, and after each drip of colour I add a drip of white on the top, and the density, the heaviness of the white ink pushes the colours down deep into the resin and creates these beautiful 3D effects. So I will don my mask, mix my resin, and then I'll see you back here afterwards and we'll take a look at the finished result. So I've left the resin overnight and it's now time to unmold. I can tell from the back that already the back on this one looks different to the one I did before. This is the one that I did with the Ranger white ink, and you can see there's lots and lots of white on the back, not so much on the front. And with this one, there's very little white on the back, and so I'm now a little bit nervous that when I tip up, it's going to have completely white all over the front. But we will see. So let's get this unmolded and see what it looks like. It's a nervous moment. Oh, come on. Oh, it's stuck. It's stuck. Is it stuck? I've got a little bit that's stuck. No. Okay, so I've never had this before. I'm not sure what we're going to do. I think I'm going to put this in the freezer for a little while. I've heard that if it sticks to the mold, then popping it in the freezer is a good idea. So I'm going to go and do that now, and then hopefully I can get it off, because it's stuck right on the front. If it was stuck on the side, it wouldn't be so bad, but it's stuck a patch right on the front. So in the freezer it goes, and let's see what happens. Well, unfortunately, sticking it in the freezer didn't make any difference. It was well and truly welded into this pan. Only a small amount on one side. Let me see if I can find it. It was a little patch just here. So I'm going to hold that up to the camera. Can you see where it's a little bit scratched? I had to, when I took it out of the mold, part of the mold was stuck on here, and I had to scratch it away with a little craft knife, so I've left a little patch of scratches up here, which I will be able to repair, but still it wasn't the optimum result. And of course I've now got a patch in my mold, so I think that makes this mold toast, but I'll still be able to use it for cakes, right? So that's not the end of the world. More cakes is never a bad thing. But let's have a look at how this came out, and it's so pretty. Now, it's completely different to the other one I did in terms of its look. This one I did, I bring this up towards the camera, hold it maybe towards the light there, it's a bit hard to see. It has a lot of depth to it. You can see how it looks quite 3D, it's a lot of depth. This one is a lot flatter in the details. There are some areas where it's quite 3D, but there are also some areas where it's kind of flattened. You see, it's not so 3D in some areas as others, and I'm not sure why that is, whether it was the difference with the white that I used, that the white pushed the colour down that little bit more. See, the back of it is really pretty. I love the back, absolutely love it, but the front was not the same as this one. It's still beautiful, but it looks different. So it's flatter, there's not so much 3D when you look down into it. It's a little bit smoother in terms of the way it's all kind of moved in towards the center. Around the outside, if you look just here, see if I can get that in focus, where there's less ink, it actually looks nicer. It's a lot more 3D here, so I think it may be that with using a slightly thinner depth of resin, I probably needed to use less ink, otherwise it gets a little bit congested and you don't get as much space between all of the inks. So I'm going to bring the camera down now and hopefully show you some of the details on here, and then in a future video maybe we'll have a look at how we can repair this and what we can do if we have a damaged piece of resin. So I think you can see in some of these areas here where it's still got a really nice 3D effect, and you can look down in and you can see, you know, especially over here too, you can see beautiful 3D effects. Oh, you're getting a little bit glare from the light there, and it looks absolutely beautiful, really, really nice. And then over on this part, maybe there was just a little bit too much white, or there was too much ink, or the resin wasn't thick enough, and you can see how it's kind of flattened out a little bit more. It's a little bit more congested, so you don't see down inside the inks so much in this area as you do in some of these other areas. You can see here where there's less ink, you get a little bit more of a 3D effect. So I think maybe the secret is make your resin nice and thick, The first one I did over here, this was 400 millilitres. This one was only 300 millilitres, so it's only 3/4 as thick as the other one, and that obviously may have also a lot to do with the 3D effect that I've got. So it's flatter, and therefore you may need to use less inks if you still want to get a beautiful 3D effect. And let's see if I can find that little area. Okay, here's the little patch where it's a little bit scratched up, where I had to get it out of the mould. So I should be able to sand this, and we can put another layer of resin over the top and it will fix it. So I'm going to now take some nice photographs of this one and I'll stick them on at the end of the video, and hopefully you'll stick around and see some more videos from me with resin and lots more other arts and crafty type things coming very soon.